Hey there, it's Chris. Welcome back to, I believe this is part 13, question mark, of the Bang Shishigami project, where last time some exciting stuff happened. First off, we're hardened. We're in there now. Also, might notice a slight detail. We now have two pieces where before we had one. Now, I keep saying I want to break these in half to make it easier for painting purposes. Technically, this isn't really going to change much on the painting side of things, but this will make any future hardenings much safer now that I don't need to have this much right up near the top of the oven. I can now have pieces lower in the oven as I go forward, and they have much less chance of actually burning and having stuff go wrong. So as much as nice as be to just start off with the pants right away, our first task is piece these guys back together again, and make it very easy and possible to piece it back together again. And then from there, we'll see what we have time-wise left to go. In which case, we might start actually then start basing out the pants and get this lower part kind of going. So, first things first, as we might imagine, what I didn't do when this thing was still quasi good and malleable after hardening is it was situated from this hole, from the bottom hole here to the side one there. Well, it got moved over a little bit, and once it got moved over, now that it's actually not going anywhere, we can't get it back to the original hole. So his stance changed a little bit. I'm not concerned. I've re-drilled a new hole. We're in there. That's gonna be fine. A couple other little things. I guess the claw part was still kind of touching the ground, so claw got kind of kicked in a little bit, also fine, and we somehow lost one of the strings. That one's still there. The other guys are still there. Somehow we just lost the one strand. So otherwise, it's actually not too bad. It kind of worked out, so I'm okay with that. If that's the worst that happened, that's fine. Because I've had some really bad things happen to some of the other ones, so this is nothing. So the first thing I want to do is I want to clean up some of this junk that's on here, get ourselves back into a nice place again, and we need to kind of get some of this foil out. You can't see a single thing I'm doing. I didn't realize my camera was pointed down like that. Alright, so first thing I want to do is I want to start cutting some of this foil out of here. It's no longer doing us any good. So we have all the foil, all the tape. It's got to go. I should actually probably put a new blade on this thing, because I know it's not good. Yeah, so not much time has actually passed between the last segment and this. I had basically had dinner. Let it kind of sit there, harden, do its thing, but physically not super much time has passed. So, there's not much new stuff to talk about. After this, I'll probably do like a nice, easy, maybe 4-mile jog. And then tomorrow is going to be the big distance day. But I got to do, like I said, I've been kind of, especially back half of the week here, I've been just kind of like mentally exhausted. So I haven't really done. I know I keep saying, yeah, you got to have your schedule, stick to your schedule. Everything's about doing that so you know you get stuff done. Sometimes you have to read your body. And I think when you're kind of growing up, you're in like the middle school, high school kind of time frame. You have to trust your coaches and whatnot to kind of push you beyond your limits and kind of show you what you are, what you can do, what you can get away with. But as you get older, you get a general feeling of when you can push yourself and when you can't. And like I said, back half of this week has definitely been a kind of back off kind of week. It's just just wasn't really happening. So I'm feeling better now. So it would be good to go out and do some things again. Also, this does not want to cut. All right, well, it's a start. We're going to get more into that later on, but we also need to carve out this. All right. The exciting part, getting junk out of here that we don't need. Okay, I wound up with a little bit of hollow in there I wasn't expecting. So let's go and refill that one because we're gonna, ideally I would actually probably keep, well, actually this one might be worth keep filling in the bottom and hollowing out the top. Maybe it's worth going that way on this guy. Oh, I see we got a little split. I guess, all right, we have a little crack that kind of goes down the leg. I guess that was when I was seeing if it was going to go in the first hole, so that was 100% on me. But this is what glue is for. So let's see if we can widen it a little bit just so we can get some glue in there. And then close it right back up again. Hold it for a few seconds, let it do its thing. This is normal. Not knowing where the top on this, there we go. I was about to say, not knowing where the top on this thing went, that's less normal and good. Even if there is a crack in there right now, when I put the mass of the pants on here and then reharden that, that will harden this whole thing back together again as well. And just seeing how much junk is in here versus how much is on this side, I might just make the void, or the cavity in here, and add the extender onto that one. So let's prepare to do that. So what that means is I'm going to, actually, now that we're kind of opened up on that stuff, how does this, ooh. All right, let's get you kind of, your feet are in there. So we're not starting in a terrible place. We're definitely not starting super bad. I do, actually, if I'm going to do that, do I need to cut? Yeah, I would probably want to cut the wire here so it's not trying to get into a weird spot inside. So where are my snips? Because otherwise I'm going to keep going into, although it is lining up pretty well in there. But actually, no, that would be better. Yeah, we're just going to cut this off. Don't need this anymore. Gone. Okay. So now, I either want to get more of this out, or I want to pack some of this stuff down. I think I'm just going to pack some of this stuff down, and we're just going to fill in on top. The cut edge itself doesn't look like it's terrible, as long as you don't look at the back. So, okay, that's not too bad. So we need to make a void up here. So we need to cut out some of this middle stuff, which means we're going to have more of this, whatever, aluminum foil, or the foil wrap more of that's going to have to go. And I can see that this didn't harden all the way through. So clay is not necessarily reusable in this section, but it's definitely not the hardest in this section. So that's cool. Again, the outside is 100% fine. This won't negatively affect the final product at all, that it didn't get all the way through. But I guess I've been doing the female characters a lot recently, that they tend to be a little skinnier than the guys are here. That's a lot of mass we have to go through. So I just mistimed it because I'm just not used to using this type of body or going through this type of body style. And that'll be fine. Okay. It may not look the prettiest right now, but it will get the job done. Although I think it already looked better than it did like 5 minutes ago, so can't really complain about that. All right, any more aluminum we can get off of here would be better. All right, how much? Come on. Yeah, this is the hard part, because you have to get... This is when part of me wonders, why do I even put this wrap on this? But, alright. If I can get just this little bit either out or bent down, that would be... There we go. Oh, I have a huge mess we need to clean up after all this is said and done. Okay, so we got all that stuff cleaned out. I said I'm not super fan of how much this thing is moving in there. So let's see if this can make any kind of difference. Throwing some glue in. Throw some glue in on that side. And while I put the cap on here, we let it sit for a little bit. Doesn't take that long. Okay, so once again, we're not starting off terrible. Front's not too bad. I said back's... All you see is my shadow. So back can go... Whoop, yeah. Until I do the next part, it's not going to stick. Surprise, surprise. Alright, and that glue is doing its job. Good. Good, 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 good. Something is working. And I shouldn't have put all of this glue away, because we're going to need some of this. to attach some in here. Because we need this to hook in really well. Okay. So now that I have that, now I want to kind of parade this thing around a little bit to try to get it to actually fit correctly. Okay, so that's kind of right there. That seems okay. That seems okay. So we pull it out, and there we go. We have our little dot in the middle. That's fine. Now we're just gonna keep adding this stuff in here. I'm just gonna pump that in, and we're going to squish you in again. Again, making sure we're actually staying centered on this. I can pull you out, and you can see we're starting to make our impression on this. So that is good. We want that. And I shouldn't keep putting this away, because apparently we do need a little more right down under there. And then that goes on top. Because what we need to have happen is we can't have this pull out when I try pulling the top half out. If that ever happens, bad times. It defeats the entire purpose. So let's just dab it down with the fingers. I'm not using for anything in case it is still wet. And I'm just going to keep building stuff up in here. I'm going to do it kind of gradually. I don't want to do it all at once, because you do it all at once, it's not going to kind of smush in as nice as we want. So I'm just going to keep kind of do a little something like that. Get our guy, push it down. Test to see that we are where we want to be. That's kind of what we want. Again, my cut wasn't perfect when I went through, so it made that seam is never going to be, it's not going to become seamless as this goes at this point. But as you can see, we are starting to get a core going up, and that is what we want. Because once we get that and that gets hardened, we can then just keep popping this thing on and off as need be, and there we go. Now I don't make the insides of these look nice, smooth, 100% perfect, whatever. I'm getting it enough that it will hold itself. And as long as I don't get myself in trouble later with that, we're good. But I'm going to pack some more on top, because I don't know how deep this goes. And we should hit the point where if I do go too far up, it'll start squishing it out to the side of there. And that will be fine. Back looks good. Front's pretty good. And bam. So that should be me going, why do I keep taking this thing out? Okay. Alright, we're going to let that guy dry. Whoop, I got more on the back here. It's sticking up a little. Alright, just like that, we are what, like 20 minutes into this? And we now have two halves that can be taken back and forth, in and out from each other, and life is good. So that was quick. So I guess then now we can start working on the next detail section, which is going to be, well, don't really need to change the image I'm going off of on this. We can just work right from there. That's awesome. Although I might still give this thing, I'm going to give this thing just a minute, just so that the glue here can actually harden before I stick this thing down. I know it's like the instant glue, whatever. I just want to, before I get myself into trouble, let's make sure any little shiny spots I see on here are gone. Because I kind of want to do this with that in place, because it just seems to make it easier that way. And I'm all about making things easier whenever possible. Okay, again, I'm not going to worry too much about the seam being a nice, pretty looking thing, because it will be 100% hidden by that belt, that big old belt that goes around them. So if I were doing like a swimsuit thing or like a leotard thing or something that has like a lot of like exposed area, yes. Or if I just have like a pair of shorts or like a tank top where you do the arms, yes, that type of thing, I would be very cognizant of making the seam look good. Here, it's going to be hidden, so I'm not going to obsess over that detail. There are other instances where I can do that, but this isn't one of them. Now, normally when I go and put clay on this stuff, I would need to glue this down as well. Good news is, because I'm basically wrapping the entire thing, I can get away with just applying pressure, and the pressure itself will hold this stuff on. So I can just kind of push it in, and individually it'll peel off real easy, but as we keep doing this, you're adding more clay and stuff to it, it's going to work out well in the end without having to actually glue it on. So yes, as we get into other details later on him, yes, we will be gluing new clay onto old clay. It just, in this particular situation, not necessary. Now, I know he has the slit down on the side in the pants. We're just going to wrap this all over and just cut that out afterwards for now. So again, that will also make it easier. Plus, being as this isn't actually glued onto him, once I cut it out, it'll be easy enough to pop that out without a problem. So that will work. So end of this session, it's probably going to look pretty ugly at the end of this session. That's fine. Because all I'm doing is basically, I'm really just kind of blocking out, adding clay. We aren't really going to be forming anything. We just want to get clay on here, and that's about it. That is our goal. Now, I could be smart and actually use the roller, which is the pasta roller right there, and kind of just knead this thing out, make a sheet, and put it on. But I'm already halfway attached, and yeah, I don't know if I'm being a workaholic or I'm being lazy, but it's one of the two. It'll get there in the end. Don't worry. No worries. And the nice part is, as the pants go on, it's going to bring these boots back into actual kind of proportion to what they should be. Because right now, they're a little large and in charge. So this will help bring everything back. Yeah, look at all those nice details and stuff we put on. Gone. They're gone. 100%. Whoop. Don't see them anymore. Yeah, so this and the jacket. Actually, no, they're a bunch of. This, the jacket, I was going to say, this and the jacket, the two that are going to use up the most amount of clay that's left. But now we're going to go through a lot of clay on this project. He's just kind of like Rain. He's just kind of a beefy character. He does have a lot of kind of fabric-y stuff going on that we need to deal with. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go through the rest of this pound of clay that we started with and then go on to some more after that. It is just going to happen. And yeah. Oh, there's so much random junk on the ground here now. Already it looks like pants are getting baggy. That didn't take long. Alright, let's get ourselves a big old hunk out of this, because we're going to need a big old hunk out of this. What time are we here? We're what, like half hour in? Okay. Oh, let's get you back into cent. Helps if I have this. Alright, back to the widest settings. That might help. No, don't lose pieces. Alright. Going somewhere, making progress. Okay, that's needed a little bit. Let's get you out of the way. Let's get our main event back in here. And I can already see, just looking at the preview, changes are happening. Okay, so I had in my head been debating a little bit whether I should have held off on the knee guards and done them after the pants are in, if only because, yeah, trying to fit it down in there. But I think this is going to work. I think we're going to be fine. I suppose I could always... I guess the only issue if I need to paint underneath it, but I think if I need to get that far, you're not going to see the detail anyway. So I think we're going to be okay. But let's just make sure at least we get clay everywhere. Because as long as we get clay everywhere, then we can stick stuff to it. Fresh clay sticks to fresh clay. So if we can get fresh clay kind of everywhere on this, then that will really help in terms of bulking stuff out. So we have the entire back half on this side that has to go. Now, I don't think I'm going down very far here. I do need to bulk this leg up to kind of bring it back into proportion. So there is that. All right, where are we? But I do still need to put some clay down there. So let's at least get some stuff in here. Okay, I'm missing a little bit down in here. whoop, stick, at least stick a little bit. I don't need to stick much, just pretty much I get this part, and then we can start actually actually blocking out what we need to block out. Because I know we're going to come down a lot on this part, and we need this to kind of come in a decent chunk at an angle. But just doing that has now definitely brought this section a little more into size. It's making the boot area not seem absolutely massive. But really, kind of the first thing we need is we need to bulk this leg up. So maybe I do that. Oh, wrong side. Can we see? Okay, we are on camera. Good. Every now and again, I have to double check that I'm doing things right. I'm actually videographing everything correctly. Trying to be good. Okay, so we need to not only build you up, we can make you a little wider as well. Oops, we didn't put any clay right on the side. We missed a spot. We missed a spot right over there. Let's not do that. There's so much that needs to go on. There's no way I can physically miss anything. It just, as Princess Bride would be, it's inconceivable I would miss anything when I'm putting on as much clay as I am during the next like 20 minutes or so. I think I'm generally going to be kind of bulking up and then probably cutting out. Probably about half of these folds are going to kind of be cut out, and half of them might be added to. We'll see it once we start getting into that phase. Right now, it's just add clay, add clay, add clay. That's all I got to do is add clay. That's basically what the rest of this, what I'm going to guess a decent chunk of the rest of this session is going to be, is just kind of adding clay. Could be wrong. There might be a little more to it. I'll probably do a little more to it than just that. But in general, our idea, our goal is to get ourselves something to work with. Bulk, then cut. That's the phrase for bodybuilding, bulk, then cut? That's what we're going to be doing. We got to bulk and then cut. Okay, we need to get more down here. Because now that we have more up top, we need bagginess to kind of continue on the bottom. And this will make the leg feel like it's higher. And all is good. All is good with the world after that. Yeah, no, it kind of becomes amazing just how fast we go from first hardening to starting to get stuff to happen. And we have, now because the legs are coming out, we have major fold that comes from here down across. So we're going to need to, if nothing else, kind of have that action line kind of coming across here. So, yeah, I know, I said it's mostly just going to be adding things, but we can do a little bit to, why am I pushing? I'm going to be cutting that part out. I shouldn't need to push that part in. We can get some of this form kind of going. You're going to get really, you don't need the bagginess so much on the top. You're going to be bagginess more towards the bottom. Let's see. I need to move some things around on here. Let's go and move you back there. So you can kind of see the foot on top. because there's the rest of what's going on there. So at least you have an idea of what we're working from. So him, essentially, it gets baggy, then it tucks back into the boot. So it's going to get built up in this area and then dive in after that. Which means we're going to need to build up this area a little bit so that it can dive in after that. And it looks like it's actually being tucked into the boot. Because if you were to have it just go straight down and in, it's not going to look like it's tucked. You need it built out so you can make it look like a tuck is going on. So to enhance that, I'm going to bulk out towards the end. Not put pressure on areas I shouldn't be putting pressure on because I don't want to break anything else after I already broke the body trying to get it into the wrong hole. Trying to put him into like the wrong pegs down there. But okay. So we're already getting a little bit of something going on there. Now I haven't really, again, I don't have my second screen up anymore. I don't think I'm gonna have my second monitor up for the rest of the project because that's usually I just use for scaling. So all I have going on right here right now is I have myself a little bit of a detail to go off of. And again, that screen there is about a 3x4 or something like that kind of preview I'm going off of. So I'm not really going off of much on this. And I haven't really kind of studied how these pants really work at this point. So if I get to a point where I need to start actually detailing these things out, I may just cut the video. Although it's only like 20 minutes to go anyway. So if that happens, we've already have a decent length video to start with. But although it would be nice to just kind of get going on this and make some good visual progress. Although we already definitely have some massive visual progress going on this. It is going on. Now this other leg actually bows down a decent chunk. It's actually kind of coming down over. Because I remember the big thing on that was it was going to cover the boot on the one side. So we gotta, I don't know how far down I'm going to go on this, but it does need something. Maybe I won't go, I'm not going to go that far yet. But this one feels like it has weight on the bottom. You can kind of see in the corner, it goes down, it just kind of hangs down on the bottom, like, yeah, like it has the actual weight. So we're gonna give it some of that. Again, we're just basing out, nothing special. And I realize I'm giving no real small talk this time, which is, I don't know if it's good or bad, although I'm not sure how many people are watching the whole thing of this anyway. So let's pick you up, realize we didn't actually apply anything underneath. That's probably not correct. That's still solid right there. I suppose I can take you out right now, just so I have less stuff I need to worry about. I'm not really going to trust this till I harden one more time and this becomes actually hardened. Then I'll probably start trusting it a little more. But for right now, we're not 100% there yet. I don't know why I put this all the way back in the plastic again, because I knew that wasn't going to be enough. I knew it wasn't. Alright, let's roll out this. Ah! No, don't have things fall. I have so much random hardened kind of junk in here, both from what I just cut out and from like all over. I don't need things to fall in random places. I desperately need to clean out this entire area, I think. I think after this session, before the next one, we are going to be cleaning up this whole workspace a little bit, because it's bad. It's really bad. Okay, some of the stuff gets bulked up, some of the stuff is going to be cut back, but we're just starting with things everywhere, and we'll clean up as we go. Let's see, we do need the back of this boot to read. This one at least reads, the other one it hangs down on top. This one we do need to have it actually read correctly. Just get a little something in here, just so we have clay everywhere on this so that I can work from that. Not that I'm going to be adding much to that very specific section right there, but at least get clay everywhere and we can build up. Alright, let's see if we just can smooth this out, get ourselves back to a decent spot to go off of in the future. And this will really help us kind of get a feel for what we're dealing with. But yeah, no, this is good. We are now on the way from turning this blank figure into an actual character. And that is a feel-good part. That is a very, very big feel-good part. Because yeah, you always hit that point in every model where it just kind of it turns that corner. And I think with this, we're going to start. I think once these pants are done, it'll definitely feel like the corner has been turned. Okay, smoothing is good. This is feeling a lot more correct. Oh, we got problems down here. None of this looks correct. I don't think there's a single part of this leg. The other leg's starting to feel a little more correct. This leg has very little that's feeling right. Again, we're just did a lot of adding. We're just making things look good. And smoothing is still kind of the #1 way to make it look good. Okay, well, there's no real character to this part, but at least it's getting in there. Yeah, so the trick is going to be having this thing hang down, yet still have it feel like it's trying to tuck in underneath. And I think that's going to be the trick to making this bottom section on the right leg here feel more correct, more good, more like what it's supposed to feel like. I mean, it's not a bad place to start on that. Actually, that's not terrible. Okay, if you look underneath it like that, yeah, it's not very good, but okay, let's put you in there, put you in. Get you back over here. You can see, let me slide you out of the way. That's not helping things. But we are. Oh right, I wonder why this looks different because I bent his arm so it would fit in the oven better. That's why it's looking different than it usually does. Okay, so if you're going up, this is going to start probably somewhere down in here. It actually doesn't go back too far. It looks like it goes back far on this one, but if we, nope, not that one. Come back there, that's not, why does this look all kinds of wrong? Oh, because my webcam's in the wrong place. Let's put you back over here. So we come back to you. Do we see the side? Don't really see the side on that one. Don't really. I have other images on my computer that show his side a little better than this one does. This one looks like the hole is gigantic. Some of the other ones make it look a decent bit smaller in the end. So I think I'm just going to start with something like this. I can always add to it. I can always subtract and put more clay back. But we're just going to start. Wow, I made that thicker than I thought. We're just going to start with that. Okay, let's not mix up this clay with the unusable stuff for later. That would be problems. Problems I don't want to deal with. At least at the moment. Okay, we need to smooth this out so that it feels correct. Get this clay off of it. I'm not doing much talking this time. We're just doing a lot of concentrating, I feel like. And if I am talking, it's not doing small talk anymore. That's right. Maybe next session will be better. Maybe next session will be the sweet spot. The one everyone's going to talk about. Okay, so you can, well, when it gets painted, you'll be able to see what that's going on. We'll be able to see what's happening over there. Let's take you back off. We kind of have about the same thing on this side, I would presume. Alright, we can cut this out. Again, this may match the other side, it may not. I'm just roughing things out. We're gonna actually kind of detail this out later. Although, theoretically, these pants should be done, if not by next session, the session after. This should be pretty much done. Now, it took 12 sessions to do the first hardening. It is probably going to be like 2 or 3 sessions and then a harden from pretty much here on out on the rest of this project. They're going to start coming a lot more rapid fire. I may go and show some of them. I'm probably going to wind up doing a lot of those off camera from here on out. You've now seen how it works. If I do it on camera, I'll kind of do how I did this time. I might bring up something else from the past that might be relevant for going forward in the future and may be helpful for understanding what's going to be coming on. But I'm not sure if this is going to become, if doing the hardenings on camera is going to be a mainstay type feature or not. It doesn't, you've now seen the process, it doesn't necessarily have to be, but we'll just see how the fates allow it. But all right, we have a start on this, and not only do we have a start, we have 2 halves that go together where they weren't going together before. So I think I'm a few minutes early, but I think I'm just going to call it at that point. I can then go look over kind of these pictures. I might go and re-update the things I have on the side, because right now I still have things like this on here that we don't need anymore. I have these guys on here we don't. So I'm going to go through, readjust what you can use to work on the side here, because we're going to be now going a little quicker through stuff, and then we'll take it from there. But no, this has been good. He already feels a lot better. Excuse me. He already feels a lot better right here than he was before. So, all right. So this has been the next part of the Bang project, and until next time, enjoy.